destroyed, while the men were shot and tortured, and the women defiled.
So, a lot of you do not understand the seriousness of what is going on. Christian Igbos fought and died for what is right against a genocidal government. And now, once again, history repeats itself. It is impossible for some of us to forget that our kith and kin folk, our kith and kin, were massacred by the government. And they died praying to God Almighty. For some of us, not being a Christian is not an option. For some of us, turning a blind eye to genocide is not an option. For some of us, failure is not an option. Cowardice is not an option. And so, I will fight on in the name of God, as did my brethren before me. I will not be deterred or turn around. I will not back down. And so I got some more money from the bank. Went from around $2,000 in my hand. Now it's $2,500. All 20s. All 20s. Include my eyes. You know, any bill you see here, it's all 20s. Okay? 20s, 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 20s. 20s, 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 20s. A fat stack of 20s. About $2,500 in 20s. One trip to the bank for the rest. Now, it is foolish to have this much money knowing that these people like to pillage. They like to defile. They like to rape physically and spiritually. Just like Gowon and his clique. So I'll push on. I will persevere. Longevity, the moral will, the moral fortitude. I will continue the war. Kissinger and his clique have failed. A campaign that they bragged would not last very long with their psychological warfare before they broke me, before I was assimilated into the New World Order, before I turned around, has now lasted 20 years. And it will continue. Those of us who are true Africans, especially true Biafrans, we do not back down. We fight to the end. Freedom in the name of God does not die. A nation of God-fearing men of God does not fade away. As long as there are Christians on this planet, Biafra will live on. I am from a long history, a long line of transcendent heroes. All we know is struggle and suffering for what we believe. Suffering does not deter us. It does not redirect us. We see suffering in the world. How can a man of honor not be suffering when there are innocent people suffering in the world? The blood of the sufferers. As the downpresser continues to repress, suppress, and oppress. The transcendent hero accepts all the pains and labors that go along with transcendence and revolutionary struggle. The difference between me and the Buddhist, for example, is I transcend this world and the conformity that they are pushing on us without transcending the suffering. I suffer along with my people, with the innocent people, with the least of the brethren. As long as the least of the brethren are suffering, I suffer with them, I fight for them, I die for them. And on a less serious note, these people have the nerve to make fun of me, the way I wear martial arts outfits and gis, the way I dress, the way my hair was funny when I was being covertly drugged. But even then, you must consider that these are a bunch of John Candy, Dave Chappelle, Chris Rock, Ebert-looking motherfuckers. These are a bunch of Adam Sandler, Max Kaiser, Gabriel Iglesias-looking motherfuckers. A bunch of Henry Kissinger, Soros-looking bitches. A bunch of Harold and Kumar, Frazier-looking motherfuckers. But yet, I know very well that it does not make sense to think that the people who do what they do will stop doing what they're doing. It does not make sense to ignore the fact that they have done it before, over and over, PSYOP after PSYOP, the Phoenix program, COINTELPRO, MK Ultra, and the hundreds of sub-projects that went along with it. The Cold War and all the PSYOPs therein. Do you really expect the people who do what they do to stop doing what they do? Show me proof that they have stopped doing what they do. They have a long history of doing what they do, and you are going to say that people who claim that the people who do what they do are doing what they do again, that they're up to their old tricks, are crazy. Show me proof that they are not doing what they do right now. Bunch of CIA, FBI motherfuckers. Military intelligence, Navy intelligence, Air Force intelligence motherfuckers. Army psychological operation units, Aquino type motherfuckers. The Marines say, never leave a man behind. I say, never leave an enemy behind. Oh, they are doing what they do. They're still covertly drugging people. They're still covertly assassinating people. They're still gathering intel. And what do you think they do with their surveillance? Do you think they just sit there bragging about, I have all this surveillance, look at me? What do they do with it? Some of it they just sit on, true. Some of it they apply frequently, consistently, regularly, with a certain frequency, as they persist, as they continue to pester and harass political dissidents. All intelligence units are people who gather intelligence and go after people who are doing something that goes against what they're trying to do. Whether they're enemies, informants, whether they're enemy operatives, whether they're, civil rights activists that aren't controlled, be they political opposition leaders, be they domestic dissenters. That is what they use their surveillance for.